Hey guys, it's Kaylee. For this YouTube video, I am going to be doing it over chapter 2 just because I've always found it fascinating of bones, even when I was in high school or even grade school. I guess really why I found it fascinating is because they're so strong and like I've even broken some bones in my ankle and I grow back and how if you do one thing to keep them healthy, it could be beneficial in the long run. Or if you don't try to keep them healthy, your bones will just decay and break all the time. Kind of like how older people bones become more fragile just because they're not getting as much nutrients to their bones like us teenagers, young adults, even parents do. But also just of what they're made out of. All of it just all fascinating. It's like I'm not going to go so much into detail about what bones where. Like in your arm you have your humerus, your radial, and your ulnar, and your leg you have your femur and your tibia and fibula. Because I just think everybody knows where those are, and I think I really need to bring it all fully up. I'm going to go dive deeper into what they're made out of. So, with our bones being made out of different stuff, like as we grow up, but why? It's for the calcium whatever is in the milk for us to help make our bones stronger so that they don't break whenever we walk, run, sports, or anything. But the bones also serve more of a purpose also because it helps us protect our organs like our lungs and our ribs or different organs also like our brain and stuff like that with our skull. But it also plays a big role in attaching muscle to a structural standpoint because if muscle couldn't attach to like a stable structure, then it'd be floating everywhere and we might not be able to move like we are. And also like we will just be like a blob of jelly. It seems like that's like the common thing. Like I've always remembered when I was like, your skeleton is your structure of your body because if you don't have it, you're like a jelly. So, but it also helps identify if a person is a female or a male because they can look in the pelvic region. If your pelvis is more narrow, you are a male. Wider, you're female. Because when reproductive happens and a female wants to give a baby, her pelvic has to be bigger to support the baby and kind of like push the baby out, I guess. So that's a whole different bio classes or whatnot. So, under a microscope at a bone, you will see that it has rings around it all throughout it. That is to house different blood vessels. Who would have thought that a bone needs blood vessels to like live or survive more than just calcium? But it's true, like the oxygen from the blood can help it too. You wouldn't think that, but it does. All these little things that a normal person would not think of a bone needs, but it really, really does. So, with your bone just in your body, it will adapt different ways for different people on what they do on a daily basis, whether it's sports and stuff. If someone is in sports, their bones will be probably a little bit more stronger than an average person just because they're putting much more weight and movement and everything else on their bones. So exercising does really help, or becoming into different sports helps too. Because I know when I was in gymnastics, I felt like my bones were still developing because I was young. My bones were stronger and still stronger today because I was working them and getting more nutrients to them. So it's just like than an average person. Like I do feel a little bit of difference now that I'm a little bit older, but I still work out, try to keep everything moving, and so I don't lose what I built up back then. And like when I did break my bones back in gymnastics, I felt like it was a much faster and kind of easier process for my healing just because I was still getting all the nutrients and my bones were still stronger when I broke it, if you kind of say. I feel like if I broke it now, it would have been much longer process than what it was, and it still grew back just fine. I sometimes still has a little bit of pain, but I think I still have some fractures there a little bit, but I don't know. The doctor as long if when it starts hurting, I take it easier. So my bones grew back stronger than what they were, but sometimes it still hurts. Like I need, hey, back off a little bit. They're still a little weak. So just all the different things that go on your ankle. Just your bones is just fascinating, and just drink milk, take care of bones, and just try to exercise.